Today we are here to discuss Articles 6 and 7, which are system administration and school administration. And before we get started, we need to approve the minutes from our February 10th meeting, which has been sent to you. And I will project them for the folks who have not had an opportunity to see those.
Actually,
So at this time, do we have someone to make a motion to approve the February 10th minutes?
So moved.
I will second.
Thank you. And budget committee members?
Aye.
Okay.
I abstain. I was not present last week.
And Jane approves as well. So thank you. Okay, to move on to this week's agenda. We are going to talk just for a second about the FY22 valuations per town. That was a question that came up at our last meeting, so we wanted to follow up today. So I will project that information for you in just a moment. Then we'll be moving on to discuss the articles and the breakdown for each of those. So as far as the valuations, I'll zoom in on this for folks. You can see that by our ED 279, we do have the breakdown for subsidizable pupils by town and what percentage that is. We then come down and see the total allocation for state EPS by town listed here, and the expected state contribution by town listed in ED 279. We will be sure that as we do our budget presentations to the public in totality, that these are well understood and advertised. The other thing I'd like to share is that this will not be the final expectation from each town, because this is just what is expected as a contribution toward the EPS formula. In RSU 22, as with most other districts, we do spend beyond EPS to educate our students, and so there will be an additional local contribution expected from each town to meet that requirement as well. Any questions on allocations for valuation?
And Reagan, is that is consistent with the earlier 279 that we received no change since the last time?
Correct.
And
Okay.
Regan, can this be emailed to us? I don't know if I missed that email that was included.
Sure. What I'll do is send out an ED 279 to you in totality, so you can see the whole document. And this will be, of course, one of the pages on it. It will be in section 4 of your ED 279. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the Article 6, System Administration. Just to introduce System Administration, System Administration is the budgetary dedication to the Board of Directors and the funding for central office functions. So it includes the superintendent's office, the business office functions, the superintendent itself and assistant superintendent, and then professional development and contracted services that are required by each of those offices. So for those out in the audience, I hope that you can see that. And so just speak up if you cannot. So Article 6 has 4 subtopics. So the Board of Directors subtotal, the Executive Office of the Administration, Staff Relations and Negotiations, and the Business Office, which is Central Office Fiscal. You can see that this year our increases are modest. What I will say is that we did some reconfiguration this year. The superintendent functions that I am now fulfilling include business office functions. And in the past, we have separated out the assistant superintendent salary costs in a different way than we are doing this year, because now that I'm superintendent and have taken that function with me, there was no need to divide it in that same way for assistant superintendent. So you'll see some numbers that look like significant changes, but they're actually just swapping places. We'll go through some of the specifics now. Is that large enough for those of you in the audience? I can't see if you're nodding, so someone will have to speak up.
It's good for me.
Okay, thank you. So we're coming to you today with a proposed FY22 budget of $933,013.22. That's a variance of $7,993.49, and it is less than a % increase. You'll see that we do have a very slight increase with the Board of Directors, and that is related in part to some professional development, board stipends, contracted services. In staff negotiations, we're holding steady. We're currently in negotiations, and we are not expending substantial legal fees or consultant fees. So we're hoping that we continue down that track, but we know that the negotiations has a possibility of not concluding this year. We certainly hope that it does, but we want to be prepared in case we need to extend. Executive administration, you'll see there an increase of $88,488. That is simply due to the swapping. And then you'll see the opposite decrease right below it for central office business, because we are removing the superintendent costs from that section because I've taken those functions with me into the superintendency itself. Down below, you'll see that dues and fees for the board have gone up. We do pay dues to main school management, and we have seen an increase in those dues and fees. We also have adjustments that we're making with the assistant superintendent salary. You'll see the increase of 74, and then you'll see the decrease of 76,000. So that is the swap. We also have a decrease in the benefits package due to the packages that are being taken in our office by employees. And then you'll see the swap in the business office there. And then the benefits reduction of 7,000 because of packages of insurance. So quite frankly, Article 6 is incredibly stable, and the only increases we're seeing are the minimal ones related to salary benefit increases that we'll be having this year.
And Reagan, yeah, on the board item, does that, I know that annually we have coverage for onboarding and going through, occasionally we'll do the, I won't say strat plan related, but we are planning on doing that this year. Having folks come in and run down through the main school management items, et cetera. Is that covered in that item? Is that increase that you described, does that cover some increased activity in that area?
We already had money for contracted services where we would bring in the consultants like Maine School Management to help train us. So that money is quite stable. The increase is primarily around dues and fees that organizations that our school board belongs to are finding increases.
Thank you.
But we do have money in the budget for those functions of professional development. Any other questions? All right. Then we'll go ahead and we'll move to Article 7. Article 7 is our school administration. Once again, we see a modest increase of $6,950, and this is related mostly to adjustments that will come with salaries and benefits. So we'll go into the cover sheet itself and talk about the changes there. So this year we're asking for $1,600,333.84. That is an increase of $6,950.78, and that's just about a 0.5% increase, 0.44%. What you'll see is that we have included increase in salaries for principals, and we're coming in at a 3% increase across the board that we are anticipating. We see a decrease in administrative assistant salaries because we have modified our calculation based on the number of days worked instead of the hours worked. And that will be a more accurate reflection of how we actually are paying out. We also see that we will have an increase in benefits for principals, administrative assistants based on the calculation of a full year's health insurance rather than just 10 months. We also have an increase in software support and maintenance, and in FY21, we didn't include the accounting software support that we needed to. We have ADS accounting software. We do have Power School maintenance, and the state is going to be picking up the lion's share of that cost, if not all of it. So we did not include all of that cost in our budgeting. We do have dues and fees that go up. We have many organizations that we have our principals belong to support the schools, and we've seen increases there. And then we do have an increase in travel for principals. We started an admin retreat last year, which we do want to continue as an annual event. So we want to be sure we have the funding included so that we have the travel costs for us being able to make our way to that destination, which has not been selected yet due to COVID. So once again, I think the variance that we're seeing here is frugal and is trying to be responsive to making sure our needs are met and only asking for what we feel is necessary to move forward next year. Any questions? Okay. I would say in closing, these two articles, consistently the last few years, we have tried to be very attentive to making sure that these offices are streamlined. And I have to give a shout out to our school principals. I think that they work very effectively within the very efficient budget that we do give them. And in the ways that we can find to support them creatively, we do that. And I appreciate the work that comes out of those offices based on the budget. We do work very efficiently with administration in RSU22. Okay, Rob, so that closes it out for tonight.
Well, and that last statement was well put as well. Absolutely. Were there any other comments or questions from folks for these items?
I'm just looking at an old budget that we did, and I'm seeing the actual expenditures for fiscal 18 for area schools. So it's a comparison of the system administration and the school administration to ours. This is from 2018 though. If we could have an updated one of that, if that's possible, it would just be nice to see how we're compared to peer groups.
So
Actually,
that's
I
a great,
believe, yeah, we do have one of those that was done just last year as well, I believe.
well, I believe that those comparisons are always 2 years behind because
Right.
they have to collect all of the data. So I think the closest we could get to that is 2019, and I'm not sure that that's out yet. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and make sure you have it when it's available.
And are you talking administrative costs only, or are you talking cost per student total?
This goes over system administration as well as school administration.
Gotcha.
But yes, we could certainly, and I think every year the cost per pupil is figured anyways, and that's disclosed certainly. So I would anticipate we would have that at some point as well.
I also have a question, if I could, please. I know last year you had asked for an extra position at the central office, and for the life of me, I'm sitting here trying to remember what it was. Is that in this budget now? I think it was, I don't remember if it was human resources or it was for somebody to be able to do PR or that kind of thing. Am I wrong in that?
We did ask for a new position, and what we ended up doing was substituting when Gloria got done. We hired a position to replace her with a finance person.
Oh, that's
We
right.
now are seeing that Penny Robichaux, who's our accounts payable, will be retiring in June. And so we will get the Gloria type administrative position back through that position. And we hope to add just a small bit of time and think about human resources that way. We're going to see how well that does. And if we still need to address it as we had asked last year, we'll come back next year and ask for the HR position. But we're going to try to work right now with this new configuration.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, that is a very
All right.
efficient meeting. So
I think
it
that's
is,
one of the fastest yet.
I think so. What's important though is not the speed, it's how thorough. So if anyone has questions, make sure that you're asking because we want to get all of that information to you. We are going to be having a policy meeting next. So if there was anyone interested in that, we do have a different Google Meet that we will be firing up for the policy committee. If we have no more questions, we'll look forward to March 31st. That's our next meeting. And we will be discussing Articles 4, 5, and adult education. And that is athletics and then school support like guidance, library, nursing, curriculum assessment. Okay. On that note,
Great.
have a wonderful
All right.
night.
Thank you, Regan. Thank you,
You
Jean.
too.
Bye-bye.